Since January is now leaving us, I wrote down 7 things that I wanted to leave behind for 2025. We're saying goodbye to the first month. We got a little taste of the calendar year. I wrote down 7 things I'm leaving behind. I wanted to share them so that, I don't know, I just think it'd be better if we all did it as a collective. So, first things first, being silent towards facades, right? I feel like we all are told as little children, we're all taught and conditioned to let certain things pass us by. And if you notice, a lot of little kids, they will actually call things out because they know that certain things aren't right. The way that certain people are treated aren't right. They're confused by it at first, right? Certain behaviors are taught. And so when little kids call things out because they know that they're wrong, mind you, they know that they're wrong because children are the closest thing to God, to the divine. They were just there with the divine, with God. So they come into the world with the divinity inside them, with love, leading with love. That's why children are so sweet. But they're taught and conditioned into certain behaviors, right? Especially when they are corrected. Okay. And so being silent towards facades is my first one because I feel like a lot of us understand that things are wrong, but we kind of let it pass by because whoa, we're gonna say anything, and what's me saying something gonna do? Do you get what I mean? But maybe one person saying something would strike up a conversation about it, right? And even if it doesn't change anything as a whole, maybe somebody bringing up the conversation could spark somebody's mind that will end up changing things. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like being silent towards facades, and that goes with anything. That goes with, big things within our society. It can go for things at work. It could go for facades within your family, right? Within your family dynamic. It's like, do you guys put up a facade that you're happy? But, in all actuality, behind closed doors, everybody's pretty miserable. At work, is a facade put up that, oh, we're all just a happy family, and we all get along so great, when in all actuality there's a lot of distrust and micromanagement, and maybe you're supposed to be in a progressive work environment. Like me, it's like I work at a university. I don't work in corporate. I work in a university setting that's supposed to be one of the most progressive areas of the entire city, because that's where ideas are built. That's where things are invented, right? That's where young people are trying to navigate themselves and how they're going to navigate adulthood, right? It's interesting when you start working for a university, because I think a lot of people like to put up the facade that things are progressive and things are, very liberal and stuff, when in all actuality, white supremacy is very much present and prevalent, and thriving in that work environment. So it's like, with me, am I just going to let that pass by, or am I going to speak up and use the privilege that I have to speak up because I am in a progressive environment? It's like, if they don't let me speak up about that, then where are we at as an institution? Do you get what I mean? It's like little things like that. And then, we can go into the bigger aspect of like our country. It's like American exceptionalism. It's like, oh, certain things are never going to happen here. Are they not? Or do we need to acknowledge certain things to make sure that they don't? Right? Do we still need to do the work as Americans? If we love this country, do we still need to do the work to call things out and move away from certain things? Do you get what I'm saying? So it's just like, number one, being silent towards facades, speaking up about it. It kind of goes into my number two, which is getting away with unaccountability, right? It's like a lot of people who sit there and say, we just don't talk about that, right? It's like, if you talk about it, there's social punishment that you might go through, right? You might lose your career. You might lose your friends, lose your family. It's just like, that's because these people don't want to be held accountable. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like, I don't think anybody should, uproot their lives to speak up for certain things. But, if it comes up in a conversation, it's okay to sit there and say, no. Like, you don't have to sit there and just be silent or, agree with everything somebody says, right? And I'm about to post a TikTok about this. I don't know if it'll be out by the time I post this video, but it's like, you should be prepared to disagree with people that you follow at least once, right? It's just like, you don't have to agree with everybody on everything, right? And so getting away with unaccountability is just like, people, that's another way to, not let people get away with facades. It's like, they'll try to talk you out of calling them out. And, oh, this is why I said this. And, oh, this is why I did this. And all of these things, when it's just like, okay, you might have a million excuses, but that doesn't negate the fact that this is a harmful behavior that you're partaking in. This is the harmful idea that you're perpetuating, right? So we have to fix that. It's something personal, but we do have to fix it because everybody else suffers, right? It's like at my university, we need to fix certain ways that we are, as staff and faculty, are doing things, because who suffers? The students, right? The people who matter the most, the people who are learning, who are trying to learn to go out in society to do better. It's like, why perpetuate systems that harm the students, right? It's just like not letting people get away with an accountability. That leads into backing down when speaking the truth. It's like we can't keep doing that. And I think this past month I've talked a lot about certain things on the internet where I could have backed down, right? One video that I got a lot of backlash on was me talking about how men aren't entitled to brutality towards women. A lot of men flocked to my comment section, kind of proving my point. Justifying the fact that it's like, oh, well, women shouldn't hit men. Yeah, women should not hit men. Nobody should be hitting anybody. But if a woman hits you as a man, I doubt you're scared for your life. Do you get what I mean? So that's, a woman slaps you, you're not scared for your life. Walk away, push her off, slap her back, walk away and call the cops and get her ass arrested, press charges. Do you get what I'm saying? Instead of beating her to a pulp and then putting her in the hospital, men aren't entitled to that, right? But a lot of men mass reported my account because I said that they are not entitled to brutality. I then made a few videos after that, I think like 2, doubling down because they're not. And some people were like, yeah, thank you for not backing down, because it's just like, no, don't back down when you're speaking the truth. It's like, that kind of goes into number 4 though, is don't back down, but also don't engage with people that are purposefully trying to misunderstand you. My number 4 is arguing with men and the insecure, right? There are a lot of men and pick-me's who got into my comment section, trying to argue with me. And this one's hard for me, number 4, because I want to prove my point. I want people to see my side, because I feel like my side is, I'm trying to lead with love, right? I'm trying to get our world to a place where all of us can be comfortable, right? Especially women. Women, particularly Black women and children, I think they're like the least protected group in the world, on earth, right? And so I want everything to be comfortable for everybody. And I argue with people because it's like, you're not seeing it. But something that I think I have to understand is that they don't want to see it, right? Men, a lot of men, insecure men, and other insecure peoples, they don't want to see it. They want to see their side. And 9 times out of 10, you cannot change the minds of a lot of people until they want to change their own minds. They've probably been living years upon years, decades with this mentality, being taught this mentality, this mentality being ingrained within themselves. I'm not going to change their mind in, a 40 comment thread of conversation. Like, I gotta get away from that vibration of energy. Do you get what I mean? It's really hard for me because I will argue and I'll come back at people in my comment section, because a lot of people like to get on the internet and talk crazy in comment sections and then they're like surprised that the creator answered back with the same energy. It's like, all of us are just people, right? So, but at the end of the day, men in the insecure, I'm like one of the person that those are going to misunderstand me, and I just have to come to terms with that, right? And I think, if you're on the internet arguing so much, maybe you don't have enough hobbies. You know what I mean? Maybe you need to read more. That's my number 5, not reading enough. I read a lot this past year in 2024. That was one of my New Year's resolutions. Very happy about it. But I don't know. I want to read more. I want to read more books that are going to help me see different perspectives, right? So that when I do argue with somebody that's trying to learn, you can use your discernment and discover you can determine who's trying to learn. But it's like reading lets you go into those discussions knowing what the hell you're talking about, because you also can't go and perpetuate things that, you just don't know what you're talking about, right? Especially with people who are building platforms. It's like, I'm trying to build a platform. I kind of want to be educated for that, right? I'm going for my master's. I'd like to get a second bachelor's. It's like I'm reading outside of doing that all the time, right? I don't think it's enough though. 2024 wasn't enough. I want it to be more, right? I want my screen time to go down. It's like, ideally, a screen time below, 2 hours. That's pretty crazy. That'd be my highest form of self. But a screen time of below 2 hours a day would be amazing. And that would give, I think, everybody a lot of time to do other things, partake in other hobbies, read more. And I think, what's my next one? Living quick is my 6th thing that I'm leaving behind. It's like, when you're on your phone so much, you don't have as much time to do things slowly. It's like, if I'm on my phone all day, I pry myself off of it, and then I'm like, okay, I have to do dishes, I have to brush my teeth, I have to go shower, I have to do all of these things, when in all actuality, I could have just glided through all of those things if I would have taken 1 hour of screen time away. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like living quick, being late to work. It's like, you could have woken up earlier, right? Maybe been on the phone less the night before, woken up earlier. Do you see what I'm saying? See how all of these things are connected? Everything's connected in this world. And I think that, living quickly, it just, it comes from capitalism, right? It comes from the hard-working mentality of America. It's like, initially as Americans are so hardworking, they're always working, blah blah blah, and it really it was a slippery slope into, yeah, Americans are capitalistic slaves, right? And all they do is work. They don't have time for anything else. And once they get off work, they are exhausted to where they're not going to partake in hobbies. they need an app that lets them get through and have some escapism, right? And now they're just on their phones, and now they don't really have time to do anything else. They don't have time to spend time with their kids. Their kids are on some screens too, right? They don't have time to clean up. They don't have time to take care of their homes because they're trying to escape on their phones on a certain app from their day, right? And so living quick, it just, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't. I want to be in the moment, right? Because even when I'm doing dishes, even when I'm in the shower, I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about an interaction, a meeting I have on Monday. I'm not living in the moment, right? And I think I've been trying to do less so that I could live in the moment, right? It's like when I shower, I don't listen to music. It's like, let it be silent, right? Let me enjoy this warm water. Let me enjoy this one moment that I'm in, right? And I feel like that leads into my last one, meditate. I need to be meditating like 10 minutes morning, 10 minutes night. I don't know why that is so hard for me to do. It's just to take away some time to just do that, to just find myself in the present moment and to meditate and to live in elevated emotions, right? They talk about this in a lot of books. To live in elevated emotions for a second so that when I go on with the rest of my day, I can still live in those elevated emotions and then attract better, right? Because instead, you're in all of these emotions. Emotions aren't past, present, future. They don't know that. Your brain doesn't know any of that. Your brain knows what you're feeling right now. And if you're thinking about your past and how that stressed you out and how that made you feel sad and depressed, and you're attracting more of that. You're living in the past and you're attracting that to your present, right? You're attracting more of that anger and resentment. But if I sit here and meditate and stay in the present moment and feel some elevated emotions like gratefulness and happiness, I'm actually pretty good at doing that when I try. I need to try more, right? I need to do the work to consciously try more, because then you're going to be able to stay in the moment many moments longer throughout the rest of your day. You're going to be able to bring yourself back to feeling those elevated emotions when you find yourself creeping out, because you're not going to feel that way all the time, right? You're going to creep into what you're used to. But the more that you work on yourself, you can pull yourself back to feeling those elevated emotions, like gratefulness, right? Like happiness, like excitement, right? That's one that I feel a lot, excitement. And that way it's like you'll attract more of that. Now you're attracting more of that. You're living in the present moment. You're not living in the past anymore. So you're not going to attract the past. You're going to attract the present moment. And what the present moment is happiness, excitement, gratefulness. And so now your future's being set up for you so that your body is more attracted to those things, right? And so I think meditation, it's just going, and something I also wrote down, training the mind to come back to you. It's like what I was saying, being a little more present with your mind and creating more neural pathways to happiness instead of living in old neural pathways that are so strong because you're always there, of resentment and anger and regret. I will definitely be working on these 7 things. I just wanted to write them down and show them and share them because I think it would be really powerful if we all tried to work on these as a collective, right? Either way, let's reiterate them. Let's go over them. Being silent towards facades, number 1. Number 2, getting away with unaccountability, letting people get away with unaccountability, and maybe even catching yourself when you're trying to evade accountability, right? I think meditation helps out a lot with that. It helps out you and it allows you to slow down and determine what you can maybe work on yourself, right? Number 3, backing down when speaking the truth, arguing with men and the insecure. 5, not reading enough, right? Reading's gonna help you. Do number 6, slowing down. Living quick, let's leave that behind. Let's read more. Let's do number 7, meditate more, right? We can all slow down by putting in a little more time and effort and intention towards other things that we like doing rather than being on our phone. We can get on our phone a couple hours a day and connect with the people in the communities we've built, but we definitely have to get off the phone and, be with our families, and more importantly, be alone with ourselves. I think a lot of us don't put enough time and attention and intention towards ourselves and our own routines and rituals that we should be doing to help make ourselves better. Either way, thank you so much for watching. I'm starting out this journey on different platforms. It took me a lot to get over my fear of being perceived on TikTok. And now that app's getting weird, and I'm assuming it's because the universe is telling me, move on, spread your wings, go to other places. So yeah, I'll be starting this journey on YouTube. I bought a mic. I don't know if that's what I need. I feel like my phone picks up sound pretty well, but either way, I just watched how to edit your YouTube videos. I don't know if I'm gonna be doing all that, y'all. I'll try to, give you the best content quality that I could give. I'm not very tech savvy. I just want to get on here on the app. So if y'all want to get on this journey with me, follow me, listen to what I have to say, go ahead and subscribe. And I promise I will keep myself accountable and really listen to what y'all have to say. Go ahead and comment below if you have any topics that you want me to talk about, or you can always tell me on TikTok too, either way. But yeah, I will see you all at the end of the week.